Hey, I'm Allie Zazzara. I play Tennessee soccer, and this is the No Playbook Podcast.
Hey, thank you so much for checking out the show. This is the podcast featuring the outstanding athletes, coaches, and experts, all from East Tennessee. My name is Casey, and on the show today, I've got Allie Zazzara, a soccer player from Tennessee. Allie is expected to have a great season this year. That's after she was named National Player of the Week during the playoffs at the end of the season last year. I got to watch Allie play a few times this summer when I was announcing for 865 Alliance, Knoxville's WPSL team. This episode is brought to you by Fort Sanders Health and Fitness Center and D1 Training, the place for the athlete. I get to Allie Zazzara right after this. Sit tight.
Fort Sanders Health and Fitness Center has the key for you to be happy, healthy, strong, and more in 2024. The outdoor pool is finally open, and of course, our indoor pool is open year-round. We have all the strength and cardio equipment you could want, basketball and racquetball courts, indoor and outdoor tennis, and of course, pickleball, plus about 85 group fitness classes that take place every week, including my absolute favorite, Sprint. And parents, Fort Sanders Health and Fitness Center has complimentary childcare with a family membership. There's also swim and tennis lessons for adults and kids, month to month with no long-term contracts. It's time to get your summer look started at Fort Sanders Health and Fitness Center, Kingston Pike at Pellissippi Parkway. You can call 531-5000. That's 531-5000, or visit fshfc.com for Fort Sanders Health and Fitness Center.
D1 Training is the place for the athlete, and we've got a brand new facility about to open in Blount County. With classes starting as young as 7 years old, D1 can help everyone take their game to the next level. Our 5-star training system comes straight from Division I strength and conditioning programs. At D1, we offer personal training, team training, youth development programs, adult boot camp classes, and much more. Learn more about D1 Hardin Valley and our introductory founders rate for the new Blount County facility by following us on social media and visiting d1training.com.
I'm borrowing my roommate's computer.
So Sarah Schmidt had to step in.
Yes. I don't know how to change my name also to not be Sarah Schmidt, but
It's okay. Does Sarah play soccer as well?
Sarah is actually a pole vaulter. She's an All-American.
Cool.
Her next.
Wow. Pole vaulter. There you go. Do you have a nickname?
No, just Allie. I've never really had nicknames, but I mean, people could kind of like to, sometimes I guess you could say my last name.
Yeah.
Like Zazzy or something, but nothing that's ever stuck like significantly.
I just thought with 3 Z's in your last name, that's, there's got to be something in there.
I know you'd think so.
Yeah. You got to get some more creative friends.
I'll blame them.
Okay. Well, Allie, thank you for joining me on the show. I really appreciate it. I was coming in on 2 wheels.
Was the traffic bad?
Yeah, it was one of those things where it was like, you get frustrated, but you realize like I'm getting frustrated and somebody's having a horrible day because there was several ambulances and tow trucks going by.
That's the worst. I've been working this summer, but I just work in Market Square, which is like a mile from my house. So I've gotten to avoid the Knoxville traffic commute, which has been really nice.
What are you doing in Market Square?
So I'm actually working for this company called American Accessories International. It's an engineering product design development company, but their offices are in the Bank of America building and in downtown. I guess not Market Square, but it's just easier to say that for a location reference.
Right. You loving that?
It's really cool. It's actually really exciting to see. I'm an engineering major, so getting to see things I've learned actually be applied, but also seeing the marketing side, because I'm definitely someone that's more like social and charismatic. I want to talk to customers. I don't want to sit behind a computer and kind of just be a CAD, like just working CAD. So I'd rather talk to someone. So getting the marketing side of it also has been really nice.
Yeah.
I've really enjoyed it.
Well, I can certainly talk to you about that kind of stuff at some point. But I guess first up, having you on the show, I wanted to hear, I guess first talk a little about last season. You had a pretty successful year. You played in 20 games.
Yeah, so that was my redshirt sophomore season. So my junior year in college, but my sophomore season playing in soccer because I redshirted my freshman year. But I mean, this is the first opportunity I had, or the first year I had the real opportunity to kind of step in and play every single game. Because in the past 2 seasons, I'd played under Lindsay Romig, a very seasoned older player. So that freshman, my redshirt freshman year, I had just kind of been the sub coming in, kind of the two-man. But coming into my junior year was finally the time to step up and kind of take more of a predominant role. And then we had an average season. We dropped some games that we shouldn't have, but we still made it to the SEC tournament, still made it to the NCAA tournament, which is always positive. And then that's kind of where I had those kind of breakout performances. Were towards the end of the season. I played well against Vanderbilt to send us to the SEC tournament and then the first round of the NCAA tournament. So my goal of the season was to just make the plays that I was asked to make. That's kind of all you can ask of your goalkeeper, to make the saves that are in their bubble. And then a big part of goalkeeping that people don't realize is like 70% of the time I touch the ball, it's at my feet. So being an active participant in possession is a huge thing that people overlook for goalkeepers. So that was my goal this season. Do my job when I can, make the saves I know I can make. And I think I kind of stepped into that a lot this year.
It's funny with a goalkeeper, there are so many little jobs that people, like you mentioned, they just think that they're just watching your big saves, but a big part of it is your distribution. Is the keeper making the right decisions? Once they have the ball, getting it back into the field of play. So those kind of things can make a keeper so much more, productive for their team. But a lot of people don't even know to think about that.
Yeah, I think people also, they look at a goalkeeper, they're like, oh, they don't run. Like their job's not that hard. But I think 70% of the time, or not even 7, I think give myself 95% of the time, I'm all mental. I'm all talking. I'm organizing the whole time. There's not a single second I'm not saying something, organizing someone, telling somewhere to be, adjusting to like a meter pass. Like it doesn't matter. My job changes because the angle of the ball changes. I have to move. I think it's a really complex position that people overlook. But then it comes time to make the save. Are you in the right spot? Did you read all the cues? Can you put yourself in the right position to make that save?
Mm. And then a game like Xavier comes up where you get 15 saves.
Yeah, that was a game that you never think is going to happen, but I guess trusting the preparation. All those I had some saves in that game that, like, if you're watching it on the TV, you're like, how is that? How is that something you? What kind of save is that? That's insane. I mean, I looked back at them and I'm like, that looks way cooler than it actually was, because you just do it repetition day in and day out. Like that's nothing special. That's just what we practice. It kind of just came down to falling back on preparation, which was cool to see. But you don't expect that 15 times though.
Yeah, bet. Now, you talk about all the repetition and preparing. There's got to be some like training and stuff that goes beyond just saving shots at practice. I'd imagine in the weight room you're doing a lot as well.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say predominantly you find goalkeepers, I mean, lifting heavy weights, probably strong players. So weight room is a big focus. A lot of explosive movements, as more as field players, is like long distance, endurance, long strides. Mine's all very calculated, small movements. If I take too big of a step, it completely takes me out of contention of making a save that is very possible if I take a half-inch step to the right, half-inch step to the left. It's a game of inches, and I think that is not seen very often. Maybe because over time it becomes natural for someone to do in the goal. But it is so intentional, it's so calculated. We slow it down to the millisecond in practice. So not only is it a lot of weight room, it's a lot of work and film, because you can break down every single save down to when you took off, how you pushed off your legs to make the save. It's very calculated, all of it. So there goes a lot of preparation to that. And then also the footwork piece. People think it's all just catching and diving. It's a lot of footwork, and we train it for hours. So a lot
Right.
goes into that.
Yeah, yeah. By the way, where is Lindsay? I interviewed her a couple years ago.
Yeah, Lindsay actually moved to Charlotte. She has a full-time big girl job now. So she is currently in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Got it. Is she the one whose brother also played like USL championship or something?
I think her brother Drew played professionally. I'm not exactly what league he's in, but he plays professionally. So, and he is also a goalkeeper. So it's actually funny. Our old goalkeeper coach, actually the One Knox goalkeeper coach, Nick Jaramillo, I think is how I say his last name. Nick, if I said his last name, I'm sorry. But he trained both Lindsay and Drew, and he said they're very similar. So seeing that from one player to another is kind of better.
I think I called him Nick Jaramillo. I don't even know if that was right.
Yeah, I think that's close.
Yeah. But so what I did for 865 Alliance this summer and last year, I did for One Knox their first season.
Oh, okay, awesome.
So he was with them, and when you announce the coaching staff, that's part of it. But I guess real quick, talk about 865 Alliance and playing in the Double D PSL here locally.
Yeah, so because of my job this summer, I had to find something where I could train in Knoxville. So I reached out to my coach, Joe, and he kind of connected me with Alan at 865. And it was we'd be glad to have you come out to practice, see if it fits for you, see if it's going to be a good training environment, show up. And unfortunately, due to my schedule being really busy over the summer, I only got to play in 2 games, but I got to train throughout the week, which was really nice. And getting to play with some of my teammates who are now here as freshmen before they came in was also really cool.
And I guess Caden Norris coming to UT this season, so that was cool. Probably getting to play with her as well.
The freshmen kind of get so wrapped up in being worried about fitness, being worried about moving in, being worried about starting classes in college. It kind of was a breath for her. So it was nice to see her play so relaxed in an environment she felt so comfortable in. I think it
Oh,
made it easier for us to connect.
well, on the mindset of somebody coming in for the first time, it makes me wonder about your recruiting. I always love hearing recruiting stories, especially people like you from out of state. How did you end up at UT?
So the recruiting process is a lot different for goalkeepers in the sense of going to ID camps and getting more exposure in a more contained environment. So that's kind of where I got brought to Tennessee is I came to an ID camp here this summer going into my sophomore year, I think, and I did really well. And then from then on I talked to Joe and I had told my parents that the only schools I wanted to play, I only wanted to go to in college were SEC schools. So whether I was going to play soccer or whether I was just going to quit and go to school for just academics, I wanted to play in the SEC. But I ended up going to ID camps for all of those, did very well. And then it came down to relationship wise with coaches. So every single time I talked to Tennessee on the phone, the conversation was at minimum 45 minutes. And there wasn't a single second where you talk about soccer. They're so intentional about getting to know who you are. The coaches were a huge part of my choosing, my selection process, the academics, the size of the school. I wanted to go to a big school. It's not too far from home. I'm just under a 3-hour drive. So all those pieces played a factor in it.
Great. I hear a lot about the connection that coaching staff can make with the players, so that's always cool to hear. Um,
It's giving me a notification that your network bandwidth is low,
that yours is or mine is?
that yours is.
I think got to call me out like that.
Blame Zoom.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I tell you what, I've just got a couple more questions.
Okay.
Uh, do, do you have something that you think probably very few of your teammates know about you?
The thing that came to my mind was that I actually played high school basketball too and considered playing basketball in college for a second. But I don't think people know that about me because once you come to college to play soccer, you're a soccer player. So, but I
There's a
was a
lot of
big,
keepers though that played many sports.
yeah, I was a big high school basketball player and I set a few records at my high school, which is cool. I like to say those like I scored 1,000 points in high school and then I like set the record for most points in a game by like a girl. So those are
How
my
many
like
points?
I had 42 in a game
Nice.
for a shooter.
There you go.
But
I
glory
had
days.
a
Now I can't shoot to save my life. So
As long as you can stop balls from going in the goal, that's all that matters.
Yeah.
I had a girl on the podcast a few months ago that hit 19 threes in one high school game.
19 threes. That is impressive.
Yeah.
I'm nowhere close to that.
She
57
now,
just on threes.
yeah, she now plays at Clemson.
No, rightfully so.
So, yeah. Um, so everybody gets this one. Share one unforgettable sports memory, and it could be either as an athlete or as a spectator.
For me, mine would have to be winning the SEC tournament my freshman year. I didn't even step a single second on the field, and it was still one of the best things I've ever been a part of. Just the atmosphere, the team itself. I think I've never been on a team that had such a supportive bench. And then also, I'd never rooted for people to win a game so bad. And then getting to experience that celebration my freshman year, coming into college when you don't know what to expect. The team has not won a championship like that in who knows how long. And to get that win my freshman year, that was unforgettable. Keep chasing that feeling still. So that was probably
What,
my greatest sports memory to date.
what about this season? You think the team is, in contention to do the same thing?
I 1,000% with all my heart think that the team is in contention to do so. We have some great transfers coming in from very good programs. We have a lot of freshmen who have far exceeded the the rankings that any of us have in the past, I think, in terms of recruiting class. So we have a lot of talent coming in. It's just putting the pieces together. Um, I haven't been too much at summer training just because I'm in and out with work. But from the things I've seen, once all those pieces start clicking together, we've been back for about 2 weeks. I think we're going to be pretty dangerous. So I'm fairly confident we can get a ring this season.
Oh, you say you've been back for a couple weeks. What are you doing right now as we record this, I guess, late July? What is the kind of training schedule like?
So everything is kind of a captain's practice run kind of thing. So we show up and it's a lot of lifts, a lot of running. And then captain's practice is sort of like break into your position groups, kind of work on technical training, tactical training. It's more focused and it's kind of a team thing. There's no coaches around. Coaches can't be here in the summer for NCAA rules, but it's a lot of small training on the side and then a lot of lifts, a lot of running because all of your preparation goes. We start July 30th and we have a game August 7th. So in that time, you don't have time to be running everyone miles and miles and miles. You already need to be fit beforehand. So all the summer fitness kind of comes to a brunt when we want to run our fitness test on the 30th. So
Kind of fitness test is it?
So the team runs the classic beep test, but the goalkeepers have a different test. Ours is a shuttles test, or I guess like 100 cuts. So it's like running to the 5 back, 10 back, 15 back, 20 back, 25 back. That's one. Then you have to do 10 in a row and average a time under 38.5 seconds. So it's a beast. It
Yeah.
is no small feat. People, I mean, I think it sounds intimidating just saying it too, but it's a hard test and I have to train for it all summer. So
Do you get to do those tests? This is probably a stupid question, but do you at least get to not wear the long sleeve keeper gear?
I've never been given any long sleeve keeper gear in college, unless it's like a winter training shirt, but thankfully it's all short sleeve, which is nice.
Okay. So Liv Stott, one of the freshmen coming in, who is gonna blow some people's hair back. She is phenomenal. But she has been working at D1 training.
Hmm.
Like I know there's been some talk about preparing for that beep test and just going all out because so she should. I see her there all the time, so she's
Yeah,
one that
yeah.
I
I
can tell
mean,
you.
that is infamous in women's college soccer. I don't know as much as in the men, but that test is dreaded. And it's not even the fact that the test is terrible itself, it's just the mental game of it. Like passing the beep test means something at our school. Like if you don't pass the beep test, you don't get your gear. You don't like you're part of a fitness group in practice. Like it means like the only things you can control coming into soccer are your attitude and your effort. And if you don't give effort on the fitness side over the summer, it's going to show. So that's something you can do for your team to come in fit. It's expected of you, it's asked of you. So passing that fitness test is the bare minimum. So it doesn't fly here. I know it's different for some programs, like some schools, not everyone passes. Some schools, it's different, but here it is very, very valued.
Good. Love to hear it. That's how you're going to win that SEC championship.
Yeah, that's step one. Day one, step one.
Right. So I've had several of your teammates on the show in the past, and I've given them this kind of a little speed round. So I'm going to ask you some questions about current teammates on the team. Okay.
Okay.
So just first thing you think, funniest player on the team.
This one, I'd like to say it's a pretty close tie between me and a sophomore named Keaton Mitchell. She's funny.
Okay.
I think I'm witty. I'm right there with her. So I think out of making the team laugh, I'd say we're the two most common.
I do like the TikTok videos that show where they ask things like this or just other silly questions to the soccer team. So I see those sometimes.
We'll have to be making more of those then this season.
Yeah, they are great. That's good content. Which player is gonna have the longest career as a player?
For this one, I'm gonna go with Jada Thomas. Well, now she's on her sixth college year, but also I know she has a passion and she really wants to go pro. So my hope and my belief is that she will have the longest career. I hope it is everything and more.
Yeah. I can't believe she's still, on the team because she's made such a difference. She's already the uh leading scorer at the school, right?
I think she's close. So I think that she was well on her way to breaking that record last year, and then she tore her ACL. But I'd say there's no doubt in my mind she's going to be a leading goal scorer when she leaves this program.
Yeah. Who is going to be most famous for something other than soccer?
That one I'm going to give to Nolan Bartholomew. If you've seen the TikTok, she is quite hefty on the followers there. So I could see Nolan being like some kind of influencer. She's got it going on with the social media.
And just to let you know, everybody that has answered this on the podcast has always said Nolan.
Yeah. She has a skill for making like such interesting videos, comes up with ideas. All the TikToks you see on Tennessee soccer, like those are Nolan's brain, Nolan's hard work. So
Got it. Who would most easily talk their way out of a speeding ticket?
this one, I'm thinking if you're trying to get out of speeding ticket with logic, reasoning, I'm gonna vote myself on this one. I am all logic, all connecting dots, making sense of things, getting out of situations. I think I am I'm pretty good at well spoken, talking to adults and like authority. So I would give that one to myself, I think.
It's part of the role, right?
Yeah, you gotta talk them out of it for a reason with logic.
Yeah.
Not gonna deal with emotion, I don't think. Well,
My
you
favorite
could.
was in the past, someone gave the answer. Who is it? Golly. Um, One of them said they thought that they would just start crying, big tears immediately, and that would get them out of it.
Uh,
Was it
I don't know. I mean, I could say a few players.
Mac?
I wonder if I'd offend you. Oh, I could see Mac doing that. Mac's the sweetest of sweethearts with a little sweet voice. She could muster up some tears to get out of it.
Yeah. And last one, who would you least want to date your brother?
See, I don't think I would mind any of my teammates dating my brother, but I would, for my brother's sake, probably say Luch, because Luch would break my brother's heart in a second. So I guess I wouldn't want that for my brother. But Luch knows what she wants and she goes after it. And I don't think, I think of my brothers, they need some maturing. So Luch would not deal with that, the immaturity. So I'm gonna say
Gotcha.
Luch, because she would break their heart in a second.
Allie, thank you so much. Sorry for the technical issues, but I really appreciate you taking the time and I'll get it all put together.
No, thank you. I appreciate you too, Casey.
All right. Best of luck this season. Go Vols.
Thank you.